So you've made powerful characters, come up with awesome backstories, and figured out a cool name for your adventuring party. It's Danger Kittens, by the way. But now, you need an adventure to go on. But which adventure? It's a big commitment. You might be playing in this particular sandbox for months, even a year or more. Or should you be playing an adventure that long anyway? More than a minute. Well, this might help. With the release of the Quest for the Infinite Staircase, we have a complete catalog of adventure modules for D&D 5e. Well, at least until the updated version starts releasing new adventures anyway. Which is not to say that your old ones can't be used. It should be fairly backwards compatible, supposedly. So here are my top 5 picks for adventure modules taken from the whole of 5e. Now, these are just my opinions. If you communicate well with your DM, have a good bunch of friends, then you're probably going to have a great time playing just about anything. Number 5, Red Dragon's Tale. This first one is more of an honorable mention, and one I'm willing to bet most of you haven't heard of. I certainly hadn't heard of it. So where does one find this adventure? Look no further than LEGO's Dungeons & Dragons Red Dragon's Tale. Yes, you heard me. LEGO. When I got this LEGO set, first I was astounded by how massive it was. And then second, I saw there was an adventure attached to it. And I was like, what? So the adventure takes place in an inn that abuts against a crumbling tower. An evil sorcerer has stolen a red dragon's egg and is hiding out there, planning to use the adventurers as patsies to take the fall. This LEGO model, which is giant by the way, is the setting for this adventure. It comes with minifigs and constructible models for the evil sorcerer and the monsters, including Cinderhowl, the red dragon. 4 pre-generated 5th level characters with minifigs for them. I will say that this adventure isn't in the box. It's a digital product, so you have to download it. And that can be a little confusing, or maybe I'm just incompetent. But it was very unexpected, which is a nice little surprise. Now, this is an honorable mention. If you want a real number 5 slot, maybe go with Journey Through the Radiant Citadel. I like its multicultural approach. Or maybe Critical Role's called the Netherdeep, with its rival adventuring party mechanic. That was pretty interesting. But I thought the LEGO adventure was just too cool not to mention. Number 4, Curse of Strahd. Do you want to go to Transylvania and fight Dracula? Does that sound cool? No, not really. That sounds terrifying. But that's kind of the point. Curse of Strahd takes place in Ravenloft, a Gothic horror setting somewhat similar to Eastern Europe. Ravenloft refers to the castle that overlooks its fief, Barovia. Barovia is a domain of dread, a pocket dimension nestled into the Shadowfell, a dark reflection of the material world. It's not the only domain like this, just the first, each separated by a wall of mist known as the Mists of Ravenloft. They can be traveled through to other domains, of which there are, quite a few. The mists still bear the name of the first, Ravenloft. These mists aren't relegated to the Shadowfell either. They can reach out into other worlds. Should you journey into these mists, you would find yourself transported into an associated domain of dread, which is exactly what happens to the characters of the story. Whether they be from Toril of the Forgotten Realms or Kryn of Dragonlance, your characters can come from just about anywhere. But wherever they do come from, they are now stuck in Barovia and must survive its horrors to escape. The beginning of the adventure is fascinating, with players encountering an old gypsy-style witch who does a tarot reading for them, called the Taroka deck in this world. It will give clues to where they can obtain certain items to help them along, as well as allies that might work with them. The reading is mapped out with certain cards, and their location in the reading determine where the items are located and who their allies can be based on a chart. Which means it can change from one game to another, giving this some replayability. They will explore the Death House, a haunted and exceedingly dangerous mansion full of spirits and undead. They will travel to the surrounding, seemingly peaceful towns, only discover they are full of mutants, vampires, spawn witches, and werewolves. And sooner or later, they must travel into the depths of Ravenloft Castle, to confront its master, the vampire lord Strahd von Zarevich. This adventure takes characters from levels 1 to 10. Now, that's important because this, let's call it a campaign's adventure, is the only one of its type that will make this list. Large adventures should be, in my humble opinion, the exception, not the norm. I mean, how many of these adventures have you started and never finished? They can take many months, even years to finish. And finishing an adventure is extremely rewarding. It brings, in my opinion, the most fun in the game. Having games peter out to no resolution can be kind of disheartening. It might make you not want to play anymore. That's why a series of short adventures just tends to work a little better. That's why so many adventure pamphlets and magazine adventures existed. It wasn't just some old fogey way of doing things. It worked. And big adventures were more of an every once in a while thing, not standard. But if you only do one of these big adventures, for 5th edition at least, Curse of Strahd's worth it. Its titular villain, the Vampire Strahd, is simultaneously extremely charismatic and terrifying. Unlike many BBEGs that leave the reveal until the end of the game, Strahd shows up multiple times throughout the adventure, either in disguise or as himself to taunt, bargain, or intimidate the players. He's a great villain to roleplay. It is a horror-themed campaign, so make sure you have a solid session 0 to get players' inputs and limitations. Number 3, Keys from the Golden Vault. This is our first anthology on this list, and it's a good one, which is rather surprising because I didn't have a lot of faith in this anthology. It's not a first. I had played the Waterdeep Dragon Heist adventure, and even though I know this makes many people's top lists, I was very underwhelmed because, amongst many other flaws, just doesn't involve a lot of heisting. But this series of adventures do. This book contains 13 short adventures that range from levels 1 all the way to level 11. They are considered one-shots, but I would say more realistically 2 or 3 sessions to complete them, maybe 4. There is a binding organization between these adventures, though it is optional. You can certainly take an appropriate level adventure, drop it into your game for the players to get that thieving experience. But the Golden Vault is pretty interesting, even if it does turn the game more from Ocean's 11.
Say we get into the cage and through the security doors there, and down the elevator we can't move, and past the guards with the guns, and into the vault we can't open.
Without being seen by the cameras.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that.
To Mission Impossible. And those two things are very similar genres. Should you use the Golden Vault, then your handler, a human named Mira Rahir, will contact the group and deliver to them an ornate music box that is key activated. When there is a mission for them to complete, they receive a golden key that, when it is placed in the music box, will play a message with their mission details before the key vanishes. It's literally this.
This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Good luck.
The Golden Vault is associated with metallic dragons and have the motto, do good no matter the cost. So a lot of the heists involve stealing something dangerous to keep it out of the hands of people who are even more dangerous. And should any other valuables you encounter along the way find themselves accidentally falling into your bag of holding, well, that's just the price of doing business now, isn't it? These heists can involve complications such as the MacGuffin you're after, moving to a different location mid-heist, or, my personal favorite, contending with a rival crew who was after the same thing. There's even a fairly well thought out chart for what this rival crew would consist of based on the player's level and the rival's motivations. The heists themselves are quite varied in their type, everything from infiltrating a 3-dragon anti-tournament hosted at an infernal-themed casino to sneaking aboard a multiversal traveling train to question a prisoner that is being transported to Mechanicus for the true names of fiends that they happen to know. Even the prison Revel's End appears here, which was featured in the D&D movie Honors Among Thieves. One bit of advice I would suggest for this adventure, especially if you're connecting the adventures together with the Golden Vault, is to encourage players to build a crew, Ocean's 11 style. The book even suggests this. This might be the mistake we made with the Dragon Heist game, as we kind of went into it as a surprise. Elsewise, I think this would be a lot of fun. Number 2, Candlekeep Mysteries. This adventure anthology made a big splash when it came out. And it was certainly a fan favorite. It wasn't the first anthology to come out, but the others were, mostly recycling old adventures. These were all new and had a bit better of a binding theme. What is that theme, you might ask? Well, that would be the Fortress Library City of Candlekeep, which is a very weird and interesting mixture of words. Candlekeep has some strange quirks. For instance, if you want to enter, you must pay a toll. Nothing strange about that. But the toll is not money or gold. No, you must provide them with a book that they do not have in inventory. Now, this isn't as strange as it sounds. The city of Ptolemaic Alexandria in Egypt had a similar system where if you arrived in the city with any manuscripts that weren't already in the Library of Alexandria, you were required by law to allow them to copy it. There are 17 short adventures that go from levels 1 all the way to level 16, basically one adventure per level, except for 4th level, which there's 2 for some reason. Most of the adventures involve books from the library in some way. Maybe the sages of Candlekeep, which are basically the librarians, send you on an adventure to find a particularly cursed book and bring it back for safekeeping. Or maybe in fumbling around with some of those books, and this happens a few times, you or somewhere else fall into the portal hidden within its pages and go off on an adventure. One of my favorite is when the library sends you in search of a missing sage who left after reading something disturbing in a particular book. The book had an ancient list of sacrifices written in it by many different hands. And one of those names was his. Oh, and by the way, your names are written in there too. And you have to go off to find out what the heck any of it means. Candlekeep is also rendered out pretty nicely. It takes place in the world of Toril, which is a part of the Forgotten Realms campaign setting. On the Sword Coast, not far from Baldur's Gate, lies this very interesting place. Of course, you can have it placed wherever you want in any of your worlds. There's a detailed map, stats for different characters you meet, and even an inn to stay at, as well as all the services the library can provide you, from copying spells from spellbooks to researching demons. It's all there with a whole bunch of adventures to go along with it. Number 1, Lost Mines of Phandelver. I've said it once and I'll say it again. This is my favorite adventure, and in my opinion, it's the best. It is found in the original starter set, along with a cut-down set of rules, some dice, and 5 pre-generated characters. Just about everything you need to get started. To be clear, there are 2 starter sets for D&D, soon to be 3, 4 if you count the Essentials kit. We're talking about the OG starter set for 5th edition. And the adventure in it is amazing. There's nothing super incredible about it. It's just really well done and polished. It's not something I can say for many of the other adventures. The first Goblin Cave you run into is, from a design standpoint, one of the best created and easily run dungeons I've ever run into. As you can see from the title, you're in search of a lost dwarven mine. There's also a forge that cranked out magic weapons. How do you know this, the player? Well, I'm glad you asked. If you use the pre-gen characters, and I suggest that you do, your character bio has backstory and reasons for traveling to Vandalen, the town that is near the Lost Mine where a lot of the story takes place. You are a humble caravan guard, classic starting point for an adventurer, and are on your way to the town. Your reasons depend on your character. Maybe you're a dwarven cleric that used to be part of a mercenary company that was up to no good, but now you follow your god's light and want to teach those same mercenaries who are terrorizing Vandalen a lesson in manners. Or maybe you're a human fighter that wants to revisit a nearby abandoned town, Thundertree, which is overrun by monsters and is your childhood home. You also have to go drive off the dragon that's there, which is important information to know beforehand, so you aren't surprised by that same dragon when you get there. Every character has a detailed but brief background and personal goals. These have important bits of information, which, combined with the NPC narrative, helps tell the story to the players. There are some unique low-level magic items in this adventure. The Staff of Defense is my favorite. Many adventures have, unique magic items. Most of them are really high level. You usually won't see them until late game. These items you'll have by level 5, if not earlier. Honestly, treasure in general is just well thought out and evenly spread through the adventure, making it like a real treasure hunt, which I just love. Now you might be wondering, does Phandelver and Below the Shattered Obelisk live up to the same hype? This is the expanded version of this adventure that takes you to level 12. Does this expansion do it justice? Not really. I mean, the first 5 levels, which encompasses the original adventure, are certainly good. But this expansion doesn't make it better, and maybe even diminishes it a bit. It tries to see tiny bits of the greater adventure into the original story, which does make sense. It just doesn't fit very well, nor is it done very elegantly. It just takes the form of a dead goblin body here or there that look different. Trust me, just stick to the original, if you can find it. So those are my picks for the best published adventures in D&D 5e. Tell me in the comments below which adventures you found the most fun. While you're down there, be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, smash that like button, check out our other videos over here, and I'll see you in the parlor.